Holy cow, we're actually doing it. We're filming a video. All right, well, I'm gonna make this a podcast as well because some people wanted a podcast, some people wanted a video. For those who are listening on the podcast, if you want to see Junior, make sure you go watch this video on my YouTube channel because I imagine he will be making an appearance. He was just napping. And now he's just sitting there with his eyes open. So yeah, he probably will be coming in the video. Holy cow. Well, I don't even know where to start, but we're just gonna kind of dive straight in. On my Instagram about like a week ago now, I put out a Q&A saying that I would be answering a bunch of questions because I've been getting lots of questions, and I figured it would just be easier, of course, to make a video. I feel like a rookie, making sure everything's turned on. Everything's good. Yeah, it looks like you guys can hear me. Okay, so we're gonna just get into some of these questions. I do think though, because obviously the main question amongst most people was, how did the delivery go? Everyone always likes to hear the birth story. So I thought I would just kind of start there and then I'll individually answer any other questions that are outside of the story itself. So I was due on, my brain is still so stupid, September 14th, and didn't go into labor until the 18th. So we were almost a week overdue, and we did a membrane sweep on the 18th. So that was Thursday morning, probably around 11:30. And slowly throughout the day started to feel contractions, but they felt more like Braxton Hicks, and they just felt a little bit more intense, where I had to kind of breathe through them, but I could continue doing what I needed to do during the day. So it started to make me nervous because I was like, all right, if this sweep is gonna work and it's already like 4 o'clock, that means I'm probably gonna go into labor in the middle of the night. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Kyle and I crawled into bed around 7:30 that night. That's actually pretty typical for me. I go to bed, I'm like lights out by 8 p.m. And around 7:30, that's when I noticed the contractions were getting more intense. And I was like, oh crap, this is it. But it was like maybe like 20 minutes apart. So I was like, okay, well, maybe this will last a long time and I can try to get some sleep. So the next couple of contractions went by and they were getting closer and closer together, around 10 minutes apart. And I, like, for the next contraction, convinced myself, I'm like, okay, this is a mindset thing. I'm just gonna not breathe through it. I'm not gonna give it any attention. I'm gonna try to ignore it. Worst thing that I could have done. That was the worst contraction in the early stages because I wasn't trying to breathe through it. I wasn't relaxing, and it felt horrible. And I was like, oh crap, okay, this is like really painful. And I was holding Kyle's hand at that point in the middle of contractions. And once he finally, we decided that it was time to call labor and delivery just to say, hey, this is where we're at. Should we come in? And they said, just give it like a couple of hours. Like, we at least want you to feel like you've been going through it for a couple of hours. So I grabbed my comb at that point. For those who know, you know. It's just a good way to like keep your mind off of the contractions. You squeeze onto this comb, and I was squeezing on for dear life. And at that point, it was like maybe around 9 o'clock where I couldn't lie in bed anymore. So anytime I felt a contraction, I had to get up and lean against something and sway my hips back and forth. That was the only thing that was kind of helping my body to relax. So that way I could kind of breathe through the contraction. And around 9:30, so it was like just at that 2-hour mark, I'm like, Kyle, like we gotta go. Because they were occurring like maybe every 5 minutes, and very quickly it went up to 3 minutes. So it was even before, because they said like maybe around 10 o'clock to call back, and it was like 9:30. I'm like, Kyle, like call them back, like we gotta go. So he let them know that we were on the way, because this is how far apart the contractions were. So we went to the hospital and they did a cervix check, and they were like, okay, yeah, you're 5 to 6 centimeters dilated. We're keeping you. So prior to us going to the hospital, Kyle stopped and got some energy drinks because he figured like, okay, like we're laboring in the middle of the night, we're probably gonna have this baby early in the middle of the night or whatever. So he cracked an energy drink once we got admitted to the hospital. And so we obviously went into the room, started just kind of working through those contractions more and more. At that point, it was another few hours where maybe like it was around like 1 a.m. And the doctor came in saying like, yeah, you haven't progressed. You're still 5 to 6 centimeters dilated. And at this point, I'm exhausted because I've been, going through it since 7:30 the night, that previous night, and then we're into it 1 a.m. So they're like, do you want any pain management? Like when I first got there, I tried the laughing gas, hated it. I'm like, nope, can't do that, don't want that. It just didn't feel helpful whatsoever. So by about 1 a.m. when they're like, you're not progressing at all, and like the contractions were getting so unbearable to the point where I don't even really remember a whole heck of a lot. I know I was on a birthing ball and, just was like, it was a weird out of body experience where I was like, holy cow, like what's happening down there? So they gave me some like a fentanyl drip to kind of help alleviate the pain. So that helped for a little while. So we kept going through it. And then around 3 a.m., the doctor came in, and my water habit hasn't broken by this point, keep in mind. The doctor came in at 3 a.m. saying like, okay, like we're at that point where like I can break your water, but we don't know how baby's gonna react because baby was still actually sitting pretty high. Like he hasn't dropped yet. So her fear was if we break the water and baby doesn't drop, we might need to do an emergency C-section. And within my birth plan, because nothing goes according to plan, I just wanted to do everything possible to not have a C-section. Obviously I wanted to have no medication and try to have, I don't even want to say natural birth because all birth is natural, including a C-section. As long as you get your baby out healthy, that's a natural birth, right? There's just different variations of what that looks like. But I just did not want a C-section, and I would do whatever I would need to in order to try to prevent that from happening. So at 3 a.m., the doctor's like, we could break the water, but if baby doesn't drop, you might need a C-section. She's like, I'm okay doing that. However, they only had one surgeon at the hospital who is in the middle of a current emergency C-section. So the doctor was like, if you do need one and we don't have another surgeon available, like that's just not, a good strategy. So she's like, I think you need to wait it out a little bit longer. And the pain was so unbearable by that point. I haven't, I was eating a little bit, but by this point, if the thought that I might need to get a C-section was something that was going to happen, they didn't want me eating, of course, just because I can't even remember why. I know there's a valid reason as to why, but I basically survived the rest of the night, the rest of the labor on electrolytes and water and apple juice. I'll overlay a photo here. Kyle took a photo of me with my apple juice. I think I had 4 different things of apple juice just to get some sugar in me because I haven't eaten since 6 p.m. the previous night. So anyways, at that point where she was like, we're going to wait it out a little bit longer. I think that's a good protocol. I got an epidural at that point because the pain was so unbearable with the contractions, and that allowed me to get some rest, to get some sleep until the doctor was available to maybe break my water, and then a surgeon was available in case we needed him. So I had the epidural around 3 a.m. or so, and that helped, like I said, allow me to have some sleep so that way I can get some rest before it was time to push. So, the contractions were still there, but I was able to rest, which was really, really nice. So I was nervous about the epidural, of course, but I'm really glad that I got it at that point because I wouldn't have been able to continue, I don't think, without any food in me and just it being in the middle of the night. So getting rest was very, very helpful. So by the time we were ready to start pushing, prior to that, the doctor broke my water at 7 a.m. This is a long labor now that I'm like thinking about it backwards like this. So the doctor was available to finally break my water at 7 a.m. I was 10 centimeters dilated. So after that, my body was ready to push at around 9:30, 9:45, and I pushed for 2 hours. 2 hours. The first like little bit of pushing was brutal because again, baby wasn't dropping, so we tried different positions that just wasn't really working. I was exhausted. Kyle like gave me a pep talk. He's like, Kristen, like you need to push harder. If you don't, you're gonna get a C-section, and I know you don't want that, so I need you to just dig deep and push. And when I heard him say that, my first reaction was like, good, give me the C-section, get this kid out of me. I am so done. But afterwards, I don't know what came over me. I don't know if it's because the doctor, nurse, and Kyle were like really like cheering me on to like push. Like before they're like push, 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 push. And then the last little bit they're like, Kristen, push. like I felt like I was at a sports game, if you will. And I don't know, that just really helped me to just dial in and get that baby out. And he was finally out at 11:41. So basically 2 hours of pushing and we got him out. Holy cow. That process within itself was way, way harder than I ever thought it would ever be. It was absolutely brutal. So after he came out, everything went well. He was okay. I was okay. There was a significant amount of blood loss where I think it was like 800 milliliters where there was like a slight hemorrhage at that point. The nurses afterwards reassured me that it's not that bad because I was being pumped up with a lot of fluids because of, how long the process was. So, anything that would be concerning would be like maybe around 2,000 milliliters of blood loss. So 800 milliliters wasn't too concerning. But because I had like no food or anything in my system by the time they, were ready to roll me over to the postpartum department section, whatever you want to call it, I actually was like really shaky and very lightheaded, and like Kyle was like really worried like I was gonna faint. So again, just got me some more apple juice, and like I don't know if it was just all the adrenaline or whatever the case may be, but I did tear. There was a partial 3rd-degree tear, so obviously that sucks a little bit. The first few days were really, really, really brutal. I needed help getting out of bed and stuff like that. But as of today, I'm recording this. It's, what day is it? It's, oh my God, it's October already, October 4th. So it's been 2 weeks and 1 day. So 15 days here. And I'm doing a lot better. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys can see some of the activity and exercises that I am doing right now. Obviously, just taking it very easy. Stitches are healing, which is nice. It's taking a bit of time, but we're getting there. So after that, when we got wheeled off to the postpartum department, I don't know why I keep saying department. I don't know what else you call it. But anyways, we were there for 2 nights. I think they just kind of wanted to keep an eye on me just because of the amount of blood loss. And baby actually, he was underweight when we left the hospital. I think, yeah, he was a little bit underweight, so I think they're just kind of keeping an eye on things. But 2 weeks later now, he is above his, Kyle keeps saying, above his stage weight, above his birth weight, which is great. So yeah, we stayed at the hospital for 2 nights after giving delivery, and by the time we got home, we've been adjusting, and here we are. So that's the birth story. So let's get into some of these questions more specifically. What surprised you the most? frick, just the whole thing. I think it really just allowed me to find a whole new level of appreciation for every single woman out there who has ever given birth to a child. That was easily the hardest thing that I have ever done in my entire life. And I'd like to pride myself on saying that I can do hard things, but nothing that I have done in this life compared to that. And I know I get so many moms who would say to me when I was competing, they're like, I don't know how you do it. That would be so difficult. I'm like, girl, seriously? You gave birth to a child. Competing is a walk in a fucking park in comparison. If you've given birth, you can compete, hands down, no issues whatsoever. So I think that whole process was what surprised me the most. Was it what you imagined? No, not really. I don't think there's anything that you can do to prepare yourself for that. Like, obviously, I've watched some birth videos to just try to prepare myself so that way I wasn't too ignorant to the process. But even just like going through it and just like the pushing part of it, like, holy cow, like, no, it was not what I imagined whatsoever. And two, I thought like the epidural would help with the pushing. No, not even a little bit. Maybe it did, but I don't think it did. And I think when I was doing the contractions, because you're only allowed to release a certain amount of the epidural into you every hour, like 3 doses in an hour's period. And I think by the time I was ready to push, I was at my max. So I don't know. It didn't feel like the epidural was doing anything whatsoever. I feel like it was just available to help me sleep during that process. So no, like, holy cow, not what I imagined. How long did you have to stay at the hospital? Did you have a good sleep and good food? Like I said, so we stayed at the hospital for 2 nights afterwards, and we were there overnight. So technically we were there for 3 nights. Good food. I mean, it was fine. It wasn't too bad. Kyle ran out and got us food as well too, just to make sure that we were both eating quite a bit. Sleep. I don't know what sleep is anymore. I get what people mean when they say that. The first night wasn't too bad, but yeah. Actually, I feel like it's getting better a little bit now, just because like I'm not too afraid of something happening to him in the middle of the night. So the first night's sleep, you're just kind of like checking to make sure he's still breathing like a million times. It's super nerve-wracking. How soon after he was born did you not feel pain anymore? Was it right when you saw him? How soon after he was born did you not feel pain anymore? Was it right? No, like pain, like from the delivery? No, like I felt pain for days later. It's still there, like it's progressively improved, but no, I felt like I got hit by a semi truck for days afterwards. Maybe that's something that surprised me as well too, was the recovery afterwards. I thought that I would be a little bit more functional, and like I couldn't do anything the first few days. I couldn't bend over. I couldn't even like go to pick up Yuki or pet him. Kyle's been doing everything in regards to the chores because the pain has been really brutal. It's better now. It's not 100% better, but it has improved tremendously. What surprised you, challenged you? What surprised you and challenged you? I think the pushing. Like I said previously, Kyle even said to me, he's like, if you don't like start pushing, like actually pushing, you're gonna get a C-section. So I thought I was pushing. Like I watched videos of how to breathe during pushing. I've seen other people pushing and they're like smiling. They're like, oh, I had an epidural. Everything's going so well. I was screaming, not really screaming. But I was very loud. We'll say that. I don't want to get into that, but yeah, I was very loud. So that was the most challenging, was the pushing. You're already, oh, sorry, there was a second half of that question. How did you choose Noah's name? Noah is actually a name I have always wanted to name my son since I was like a little girl. Like my third cousin who I met when I was like 8 years old, and I haven't even seen him since, and he was a baby. So his name was Noah, and ever since then I always loved that name. So yeah, Kyle liked the name as well too, which I'm very thankful for, but I've always wanted to name my son Noah since I was a little girl. So yeah, I'm glad Kyle and I agreed on that, because we don't agree on everything, especially when it comes to names and stuff like that. Like if we were having a girl, we were definitely not on the same page. So it definitely worked out with the boy's name. All right, 2 more questions. You're already so strong in many aspects. Would you say that your birth confirmed that? Yeah, I would say so. You know, something that I have always prided myself on is that I'm the type of person who, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And obviously that doesn't always happen. So when I don't, I get very, very discouraged and very upset. So Kyle knows that about me, and that's why he was like, Kristen, you're gonna get a C-section if you don't start pushing. And that was the last thing that I wanted. And I said to myself, I'm like, no matter what, I'm not having a C-section. And I don't know what it is, but like whenever I say I'm gonna do something, I do it. And yeah, I would definitely say that that process has confirmed the strength, even though a lot of days afterwards, postpartum, I don't feel that strong. It's been a very challenging adjustment, but we're getting through it. So I'm just gonna, kind of continue to look back on everything that went on during the delivery, that, hey, if I can get through that, I can get through this new life that's absolutely amazing and beautiful, but very challenging at the same time. All right, last question. Did your labor start around your due date? Like I said, it was almost a week late. I'm excited to hear all about your labor and delivery. So yeah, that was the last question. I think I've kind of already answered it, if you will, but those are the questions that I have had, and I appreciate everyone who has reached out, sent me a message, a DM, even all of the moms. Like, holy cow. If I could say anything to any other mom out there, or any friend, family member who has had kids before me, I am sincerely sorry for not reaching out and just not being there more than I could have. I didn't realize how difficult the transition would be, with the transition of the sleepless nights. You don't really know what that's like until you go through it. So I understand why so many other experienced moms have been reaching out to me, who are asking me constantly, are you okay? Are you doing okay? And, checking on me, which I really appreciate. Most people, they're checking on Noah, and that's great. I think that's amazing. Like, obviously, it's so important, and I get why he's such a sweetheart and such a cutie, but like, it's difficult on the mom, and I get that now. So I sincerely apologize to any of my, friends, family, clients, loved ones, for maybe not being there more than I could have. I get it now. It's difficult, but such a rewarding experience as well too. All right. I made it through without him waking up. He is passed the F out. So I'm going to end this video here before he wakes up. And thank you all so much for watching. I'll try to get back into some regular content here. That's my goal. Try to share more of my postpartum journey with you all. I think that's going to be really important as well too. Just even regards to me getting back into fitness. So I'll try to make that in my next video. All right, team, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.